our guest speaker is in Colombia. That's right, as we speak. She's broadcasting this call live from Colombia. You know what I'm talking about. Her favorite food is tacos. She says 5 feet is the fun size. She's always been a woman with tenacity, and she always had the gall to go do something most people won't do. She had a locksmith business, and she has other things she's invested in. But above all and everything else, she wants AC to work, and she is out there doing it. Told Tony Cooper, if I could put so many people in a room, will you come? He said yes. She said, uh-oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it. But see, that's what I call a leader. She made a commitment. Listen up, a commitment. And today she's in Colombia, calling in live all the way from Colombia. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Regional Director, none other than Miss Roxann Corralejo. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Bienvenidos a Colombia. I am learning Spanish, and it has been fantastic. All right, you guys. So I have so much I want to share, and I do not have enough time to share it, but I'm definitely going to try to cover as much as possible. One, because I want to go back to what we're talking about in this whole entire month of Action April. Action April, reason why I titled this month Action April, because I stepped into action. And I know without me stepping into action, we can grow together. And I wanted to bring everybody on this call with me. There's over 60 people on this call. Step into action for May. For Momentum May. Why do we start action? Why do we push to do these things? And sometimes we don't see the results right away. And most of the time we don't see the results right away. But because we're building that momentum, it takes time to build action. So I'm going to touch a little bit on that. But I also want to touch a bit on our experience here in Colombia. This has been my first time, and I will say it's phenomenal. And I'm going to share a little bit about that as well. So going back, we started this month on these DMOs. A handful of you I know have reached out and sent these daily method of operations to me, which I love. Is fantastic. We're holding each other accountable. Accountability is so stinking important, because if no one's holding you accountable, I promise you're not holding yourself accountable either. So when we start these activities and start moving forward, we see that we had on those DMOs certain points we needed to come up with. Well, I've been traveling a lot this whole entire month. So I know some of you guys might be like, well, I'm busy. Y'all, I'm busy too. I do a lot of other things outside of ACN, but what's so great about this daily method of operations is we want to stick to a certain number of activities and make sure we get those activity points taken care of and done for that week. That's how we hold ourselves accountable. Sometimes you're like, man, I only have 20 activity points and I promised myself I'd do 50. Let's do a little bit more. So what have I been doing? What has been changing my business? I mentioned this whole year, starting out this year, I really have had minimal activity in my ACN business. I've had to focus on everywhere else, and I've been upfront and honest with you guys. Not a lot of activity going on. So when April hit, it's actually when I saw this qualification that it was open to regional directors to Colombia, I got really, really excited, and I said, all right, I got to make a decision. I got to make a move, because 2,500 points is a lot of points for a lot of us. How long do we think it's going to take to get to 2,500 points? And for me, I had some doubt in my mind. Absolutely. I know I've worked hard before. I know what I've done. Some people might think have been impossible before. I will want to say Maria Estrada, who's always on this call and is phenomenal. She helped put me in the right mindset about that trip to Cartagena. Cartagena looks beautiful. Very far from where I'm at right now, so I didn't get to experience it. And why not experience it on company dime? So that's when I started thinking, I'm like, man, that's a lot of points, but doable. Other people have done it. And I'm getting into my own mind, my own self-doubt, saying like, it's a lot of points. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, maybe I'll qualify for next time. Why accountability is cool. It is so important is because Maria Estrada looked at me and said, I've seen you do better. I've seen you do more. You absolutely can do it. You got Tony Kupas out to San Antonio. Who can say they've done that? And I said, that was easy. I opened my mouth. That's all I did is I asked a question. I opened my mouth and asked a question. For me, that was simple, but she said, absolutely not. You had to qualify to put yourself in his home. You had to qualify to be able to sit in the same room as him face to face to be able to ask that question. Then after asking that question, he challenged you with getting over 100 people in a room, which I've never done before, putting on an event before that I've never done before. And so she started putting these things into my mind saying, hey, this is absolutely doable. I don't need to wait until the end of this competition to qualify. I can qualify now. What am I waiting for? So what this DMO, this daily method of operation, has pushed me towards is more peaking, which I've done. Once you start peaking people and that activity is there, then you got to make sure you get them on presentations, whether it's yourself, with a group. Everybody has presentations. And it drives me bonkers when anybody asks, well, where can I plug them into? There's so many, and everybody in ACN, all these SVPs, RVPs, they have so many, and they have all these flyers around. But the thing is, you guys see it too much, you're not paying attention. You see these flyers posted on calls just like this. You see these flyers posted all over Facebook, social media, Instagram, but you see them so much you start ignoring it. I can almost guarantee you almost everybody on this call has seen one of Douglas Soto's Estamos Unidos calls for Spanish, but because you don't speak Spanish, you pay no attention to the flyer. Therefore, you're not peaking Spanish-speaking people, and once you do, you don't know where to plug them into, because you're ignoring that. You have to say this information because you never know what's going to happen. So for me, I've mentioned I focus on peaking, and once I started focus on peaking, my team started focusing a little bit more too. They started following, because not only did I not have personal activity, I did have a little bit of activity, but not much throughout my organization. I have several legs that are starting to reactivate now. Who wants your team to reactivate? Anybody? Who does not want to build by themselves? Absolutely. You want to reactivate your team, and sometimes they fall asleep. They fall asleep because you fell asleep. So what happens when you wake up? They wake up. So I've been telling everybody I'm coming to Columbia. I'm doing these events. My action taking place and going forward was getting people to these events. There is no way I'm going to fly out to Columbia and not have anybody here. And I'm going to bring on someone here in just a minute to tell you everything that we have, because I honestly don't know who's on my team here in Columbia. I just know everybody was hugging on me and loving on me. And I'm like, all right, let's just love on each other. We're getting fruits. They're feeding us. They're giving us stuff. It has been such a phenomenal experience. But my focus was getting people to the event. I committed to going to Columbia, which means I better have a team show up in Columbia. And it is a lot harder for them to raise the funds to go traveling, y'all. And it wasn't only our organization that did this. We had some phenomenal people we met from other organizations. One is Miss Sherion's team. She has a new team growing in Columbia, and those people are fantastic. Edwin on her team pulled me aside, pulled the translator aside, and told me, you know what, Roxann, anything you need, I've got you. What? He's brand new in this business. He hardly knows what he's doing. And I watched them because we were peaking. They were out peaking. So guess what? Sherion, your team is going to grow. I was walking to the restroom after lunch, and I saw her people peaking people, and she'd never gone out and done that before, which is just phenomenal. So we grow together. So my focus has been getting people to events, y'all. That is activity, and sometimes you don't think it is because it doesn't generate money. But I promise, like I mentioned, it's not the action that gets us paid, it's that momentum that's built afterwards. So we focused, we had so many people. When you're going to these events, how are you being at these events? So one phenomenal thing Mr. Soto is so great about is whenever he travels, he holds a BOM in Spanish in any city, no matter where he goes. So we had a leadership in Colombia. Let me check my time here. We had a leadership here in Colombia that took place on Friday night before the event, and that was run by Efren Tejada. So it was a leadership call, and Efren was afraid that Douglas holding a BOM, he wasn't going to have people at this BOM. He was like, Douglas, you're not going to have people. He was like, yeah, but this is for leaders. I don't have the people in these positions, so I need to be here for my team and hold a BOM for my team. Y'all, we had like 50 or 60 people show up. And then they put me in front of the room that doesn't speak Spanish and had a translator, and these people's minds were blown because they just don't have those leaders out here that are willing to go the extra mile. So what does that say for you? That means it's an open market for you, not just me, not just Mr. Soto, not just the people in Colombia, in everywhere. So getting here has opened my eyes. I knew ACM was a global company, but I swear it has opened my eyes so much more to the global vision. Out here we had Rick. Rick is out here, and I think he's somewhere. We're in the VIP lounge, by the way, at the airport currently with our Truby. So we're utilizing our Truby, all of us that came out here, but he doesn't speak a lick of Spanish either. Rick does not speak a lick of Spanish, but he's at this event. Why? Because he wants to grow a Colombian team. Does he have a Colombian team? Absolutely not. Well, he didn't have a Colombian team. Let me change that a little bit. He did not have a Colombian team, but this is like his second or third time coming, something like that. But he said, I'm going to keep going to Colombia until I pick someone and someone joins. He had someone the very first day at the event. He had someone the second day at the event. The second day that person says, I'm in. He got in yesterday. Rick, because he flew out here, now has a team and he has the support in Estados Unidos. He has that support, even though he doesn't speak Spanish, to help present, to help train, to help grow. So it doesn't matter if you guys are afraid to grow because you're not there, don't speak the same language. ACN has the support. It's built there through the community that we build just right here. So I know I'm saying this a little late, but is there any way we can give Douglas Soto access to share something? I have a video, Douglas's Soto Zoom, that I want to share with you guys real quickly, that I'm going to bring him in and explain one really important thing that just happened, and it opened my eyes to what it's like to be new in this business again. So real quickly.
Equipo, una cosa importante, si alguien necesita transporte para Cali o alrededores, tenemos cupos en un bus que vino de Cali, entonces si necesita cupos para Cali, que nosotros bailáramos. El apoyo es allá, el apoyo es allá.
Why do I want to show you guys? Because do you want to tell him? Do you want me to tell him, Mr. Soto? I'm going to have Mr. Soto. I'm going to bring him on real quickly and tell you what's so important and what that video was about. So one thing, it is a huge freaking party out here. People are dancing in the mall. That was after they closed the event. They played the music. Everybody's walking up to the front. They're dancing. They're having a party. And I'm like, y'all, we need to bring this to the U.S. I'm ready to get down at these events, dude. They're having so much fun the entire time. I'm like, no wonder why everybody wants to join, but I'm going to let Mr. Soto tell you what's so great about that video.
Wow. Hi, everybody. We're right here in Medellin, Colombia. You see that video, right? Let me explain you what happened down there. This is the announcement of the next city or the next event, okay? You see that person dancing right next to that guy dancing all over? I picked that guy yesterday, no, 2 days ago. He's my taxi driver. So I told him about the business. He's been driving us back and forth, and he decided to go to the event. He see the vision, and when he announced we're gonna go to Cali, guess what? He's from Cali, Colombia, and he's all in. And he's a retired sergeant from the military for 25 years. Not only that, he has a big network, but he saw that vision. He was right there with us for 5 hours. He's been driving us all over, and everything thanks to the picking to take action. What do we have? April, take action. Guess what? In my way down to the VIP lunch, I don't know, right there. See, I have Adriana, I have Fabian, I have Luis Daniel, I have Lady. I have all their contacts. Guess what? We building. We came to build, we're gonna build. And we're in our way out. Okay, so guess what happened? Credibility. Take action. We say we're gonna come to Colombia. Roxann says she's gonna come to Colombia, and she say what she say she's gonna do, and she was here. Now she understand what I found in Colombia. It's not about the money, it's about the people. Everybody like to say it's about the people, but come and see the people. Come and see who you are right here for them. 70% of those people behind me, they're not in my teams. Same thing like a Mr. Thomas does right here with you guys. I do the same thing. I just follow up the leadership and I put it into the Latino community. Why? They're coming to our country and pick. Cherry and understand that. So we need to shield the country, teaching them the right way. But Colombia is open for you guys. We built for the past 4 years this community. And I'm gonna take a little time, Rox and Mr. Thomas, to pre-announce you are the first group, okay? Thank you to Sherian, thank you to Mr. Collins in Maryland. We're gonna have our first BOM in Spanish in Baltimore, Maryland. First time we're gonna do it in Spanish. Thank you to Sherian and Miss Collins in Maryland. Thank you to Coalition. Thank you to a different coalition of things. It's gonna happen in Spanish for your prospect in Spanish. So how many people you pick in Baltimore, Maryland? Now you have the double of the chances. Do it in Spanish because we're gonna release next week the official flyer for the BOM in Spanish. So thank you very much. Saludos desde Colombia. We see you next week.
Yeah, so what does it take to take action? Just open your mouth and talk to people. Those 4 numbers that he got were just our walk through the airport. We are trying to see, well, not we're trying, we are seeing all these things around the event because I want to visit Colombia. This is my very first time. So the people here are fantastic. They're showing us around everywhere. And every time we stop somewhere, Douglas is speaking someone, Douglas is talking to someone. Do you have ACN merch? Are you wearing stuff where people can talk to you? Yesterday, I had a gentleman walk up to me, we're wearing shirts, and he asked me what that was on our shirt because we're all wearing the same thing. And I told him I didn't speak Spanish, he knew English. This gentleman knew English from Costa Rica. He has family in Mexico. He has a son in Mexico. He has a son in Ohio. He has family and people he knows in several different countries. Guess what? A handful of those countries are countries that we're able to acquire services in. So in Colombia, I met a gentleman that I don't even speak the language here that is interested in hearing out what we have. Not only that, this hat that we talked about, wearing merch, it's something they made out here in Colombia, but it's all the Spanish-speaking countries, the Zooms that they have to help the Spanish speakers in all these countries. As I'm checking in, I'm showing my passport, I'm showing my ticket here. The kid asks me, oh, I like your hat. What is your hat? And so then I brought in Douglas to give a little bit more about the Spanish-speaking world of it, but I'm not even peeking people, they're peeking me. Because it's hard to peek people when you don't speak the same language. They're asking me what's going on. So present yourself in a way that where people are coming to you, make sure you have the merch, make sure you're carrying yourself a certain way, make sure we're traveling in a group, y'all, because people are interested in what we're doing in the community that we've created, especially here too. So many people want to plug onto this call. I have Spanish speakers sometimes that plug on, don't even understand, but they're trying to learn and trying to pick up stuff. So how are you being at these events? Getting people to the events is so important. I will tell you that this is the biggest teen turnout I've ever had in my life at an event. Why? Because I took this serious and I said, you know what? I've had great activity before, but I pushed the event so hard. We had so many reps, so many guests, people that have never even seen ACN before, like the taxi driver. He just wanted to be around us and he said, yeah, I'm going to hang out with you guys at the event. The whole time he's at the edge of his seat and he's just so excited to have so many pictures and he's yelling and he's like, yeah. And then I'm trying to record when they're announcing the next event in Cali. And I was like, when is it again? Because I can't understand what they're saying. And he tells me in Spanish, like he's yelling, 24. And I'm like, what does that mean? He didn't even see a presentation. He's already in. He already talked to his daughter. So this is stuff that we got to do, and it drives that excitement and it drives that momentum. This leads to our next event. What's coming up is in Philly. So I am going, I'm not just a talk the talk kind of girl. You guys have seen me walk the walk. I told my team out in DC, I'm going to go to Philly. So as soon as I get back to US, I'm going to unload my bag. I'm going to repack my bag and get there. But guess what? It's not just going to be a Philly trip. Taking from Douglas's lead, we're going to have a BOM with my team out there before the events. Have a BOM with your team in these areas that you're going to. And if you don't have a team there, start peeking people. Look at Facebook. Friends in Philly, friends in Baltimore. Who do you know in the area? And meet with them. Do not waste the time in traveling and not doing any work. We travel and we have to get to work, y'all. So that's what this whole month has been about, is getting to work. I know it's a little different than my topics I typically talk about, but that's where it starts, is just do the work. Hopefully those DOMs are helping you guys, daily method of operations, to stick with the progress and keep going, because I know it gets exhausting and we just say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Stop waiting until tomorrow. It is coming up onto Momentum May. I want to see that momentum in everybody. Hopefully you laid that foundation this month, and this will be your last month without activity or with minimal activity, because things are really going, you guys. This is going to be a new world. I've heard Efren Tejada talk about it, that something in ACN is coming, something in ACN is coming. This is it. This is the next wave of momentum and movement, and I want every single one of you guys that are dedicated to this call to be a part of it. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you allowing me to share my experience, and I hope you guys are getting the excitement that I have just by being in Colombia through this screen. If you guys are in Philly, come up to me, give me a big hug. I promise you will feel it so much more, and hopefully that'll push you into momentum if this didn't already. Thank you so much.